Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Integrative Counselor, integrating mind, body, and beyond, where we will explore the art and science of holistic wellness. Join me as we dive into meaningful conversations about mental health, personal growth, and the powerful connection between the mind, body, and spirit. Each episode offers practical insights, engaging expert discussions, and relatable stories to support your growth and help you embrace a more balanced, fulfilling approach to well being. I'm Julie, your host and integrative counselor, passionate about helping you cultivate a life that feels aligned, intentional, and fulfilling. So, if you're not on the move and it's safe to do so, pour yourself a warm cup of tea, coffee, or whatever soothes your soul, and let's dive into this journey of holistic wellness, self discovery, and meaningful transformation. Before we begin, let's take a moment to center and ground ourselves. If you're driving, keep your eyes open and simply focus on taking slow, intentional breaths. But if you're in a safe space to do so, gently close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Bring your awareness to the present moment, perhaps noticing any tension in your body and just allowing it to soften as you move through the next few breaths. Take a deep breath in through your nose, holding for a moment, and then slowly exhaling through your mouth, just releasing any stress or distractions. Taking a few more breaths at your own pace, and with each breath, feeling yourself becoming more present, grounded, and open to this experience. Well, settle in and let's begin. So, as we envision and we step into this new year, many of us feel excited, we feel motivated, we're ready to make some changes, set new goals, and envision a better version of ourselves. But let's be real, how often do we actually stick to these resolutions? We often start with lots of enthusiasm, but within weeks, many of us feel like we're falling back into our old habits. So today we're going to reframe the way that we approach resolutions, moving from wishful thinking to intentional action. What if we approach resolutions differently? So, what if we set goals that actually felt good to work toward rather than just feeling like obligations? What if we design goals that align with who we are rather than who we think we're supposed to be? What if instead of focusing on big, overwhelming goals, we learn how to make sustainable, meaningful shifts? Well, get comfy. That's what we're diving in today and the upcoming weeks. So instead of viewing goals as rigid checkboxes, what if we approach them as a practice, something that evolves and grows and moves with us? Think about it. So when we plant a seed, we don't expect it to bloom overnight. We water it, we nurture it, perhaps we talk gently to it in positive tones, and we give it some time to grow. The same is true for goals. They need space to evolve. Instead of forcing yourself into unrealistic expectations, think of your resolutions as an ongoing journey rather than a final destination. This small mindset shift can make all the difference. So, as we kind of talk about resolutions, let's first understand what are resolutions? Well, resolutions are about renewal, reflection, and purposeful action. They provide opportunities for us to grow, to realign, and to make meaningful changes in our lives. Resolutions are a lot like goals, but they're not the same. So, let's take a moment to understand the difference between resolutions and goals and how they work together. So, resolutions are the what. They're that broad commitment or decision that, hey, I am going to make a change in my life. Think of them as a declaration of your intent. For example, you might set a resolution like, I want to live a healthier lifestyle. On the other hand, goals are the how. They're the specific, the actionable, and those measurable steps you're going to take to bring that resolution to life. Goals turn your intentions into reality. For instance, a goal to support that resolution of I want to live a healthier lifestyle might look like I will exercise for 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week, or whatever would work for you. So resolutions give you purpose while goals give you a plan. So while we start out with good intentions, most people struggle follow through. Did you know that only 9% of people successfully achieve their New Year's resolutions? 9%! And almost half abandon them by the end of January. So if you've ever felt frustrated by a goal that slipped through your fingers, you are definitely not alone. But here's the good news. You can and will break the cycle. So let's talk about why do resolutions often fizzle out. This is kind of going to be the focus of the upcoming podcasts. So over the next few episodes, we're going to be breaking down the biggest reasons that resolutions often lose their momentum and they fizzle out. And most importantly, how we can shift our approach so that we can actually see real, sustainable change. So, here are some of the most common challenges people face, and you may think of others, you may be facing others. So, first is it lacks a clear plan. Second, external pressures instead of internal motivation. Third, focusing on outcomes instead of habits. Fourth, setting unrealistic expectations. Five, lack of accountability. Six, taking on way too many goals at once. Seven, not revisiting and adjusting these goals. Eight, thinking traps, especially all or nothing thinking, can be a really big one. And nine, emotional barriers and self sabotage. So, over the next few weeks, we're going to break down each one of those. We're going to explore the psychology behind it, and we're going to dive into evidence based strategies, holistic elements, and actionable exercises so you can create real, sustainable change in your life. So, let's start with number one, lack of a clear plan. One of the biggest reasons resolutions often aren't successful is because they're just too broad and too vague. So think about it. If you just say, I want to get healthier or I want to be happier, what does that actually mean for you? So perhaps instead of saying something like, I want to lose weight, maybe setting an intention of, I want to feel strong and energized in my body. Or instead of saying, I want to be more successful, perhaps you could try, I want to show up for myself with confidence and commitment every day. Intentions shift the focus from pressure filled outcome to present moment and the daily practice of becoming the person that you want to be. Without a clear plan, our brain often struggles to commit, and that motivation fades really, really fast. Imagine this. So you're planning a road trip to a dream destination, but you don't have a GPS or a map or even any clear idea on how you're going to get there. So you might start driving along, everything feels great, but without directions, you're probably going to start feeling pretty lost pretty soon, maybe getting a little frustrated and very tempted to turn back and give up altogether. The same thing happens with resolutions. If they're too general, our brain just doesn't know how to translate them into action, and we begin to lose momentum very quickly. So, what's the solution? We need structure, we need clarity, we need a roadmap. So instead of setting vague resolutions, we need to give our goals structure. And one of the best ways to do this, and you've probably heard of it, but if you haven't, here's a good one for you. It's called the SMART framework. So how it works are SMART goals are specific. So every letter has kind of a definition of what it means. So S is specific. SMART goals are clear and detailed, not general. They're measurable, so the progress can actually be seen and be tracked. So you know you're actually getting somewhere. You're gaining momentum with this. Sparkles need to be achievable. So based on your current lifestyle, they need to be realistic, things that you can manage. They need to be relevant. So they need to be aligned with your values and your priorities, those things that mean the most to you. And they need to be time bound. So they have to have a deadline or a time frame, something that gives you that motivation to work towards. So let's take a common resolution and let's see what this looks like with the SMART framework. So let's say we set kind of a vague resolution of, I want to get in shape. And I've done this before, trust me. Well, this is kind of a bit unclear. It doesn't tell you what getting in shape actually looks like, when you're going to do it, how you're going to measure success. So we need to kind of, get a little more specific with that. So if you're using that SMART framework, that SMART goal then is going to look like not, I want to get in shape. Perhaps it's going to look like, you know what, I'm going to go for a 30-minute walk 3 times a week for the next month. And then you're going to measure where you're at and see what you want to do from there. So, why does SMART goals work? Like, why does this work? Well, when your brain has specific instructions, it knows exactly what to do. It's kind of like a computer in that way. So, the clearer the goal, the less resistance that you'll feel when it's time to actually take action because you feel pretty good about it. You got a map now, you have something to follow. Okay, so now you've got a structured plan with your SMART goal, but you still find yourself struggling to follow through. Why? Well, this is where a lot of us can get stuck. So even with the best plans, motivation isn't always reliable. Some days we feel energized and ready to take on the world. Other days, not so much. Do you feel me there? I'm sure you definitely can relate to that. So what can we do to bridge the gap between intention and action? Well, that's where today's psychology hack comes in. So up next, we're going to explore a technique called implementation intentions. That's a little tongue twister there. It's a powerful science-backed method to help you follow through on your goals, even when motivation dips. So let's break it down. One of the biggest obstacles to sticking with our resolution is that we often rely solely on willpower or motivation. And let's be honest, that can be pretty inconsistent. So implementation intentions, they kind of come in and they're a science based method that's going to help you follow through on your goals, even when motivation dips. So, it's an effective strategy where you create an if then plan for your goals. So, instead of just hoping to get around to it, you decide in advance when and where you will take specific actions towards your goal. Think of it as giving your brain clear, pre programmed instructions so when the time comes, you don't hesitate. You just do it. You know what you're doing. And why does this work? Well, our brains love predictability and structure. By setting up an if then plan, you create this mental cue that triggers the desired behavior automatically. This removes decision fatigue so you don't waste energy deciding what to do in the moment. So, for example, turning I'll work out more into a real plan could look like if it's Monday, Wednesday, or Friday at 7 a.m., then I'm going to go for a 30-minute walk. So, kind of put that into your calendar, put it into your phone, set it as a reminder. So now when Monday morning rolls around, your brain doesn't have to debate and make excuses. Should I work out today? Should I stay in bed? The decision's already made. You are scheduled. It is happening. If it's Monday at 7, you will walk. This makes follow through automatic even when your motivation is low. So start by choosing one small action that aligns with your goal. Write it down as an if then statement. So, for example, if it's 9 p.m., then I will journal for 10 minutes about my day. Try this for 1 week and notice how much easier it is to follow through when you have a clear, structured plan. So, we can thank Goal-Witzer's implementation intentions theory for that nice little psychology hack that I've shared with you. So now that we've learned that having a clear goal, a SMART goal, plus a structured follow through if then plan, this can be a game changer. Let's take it though one step further. So, what if we could make new habits effortless by connecting them to habits that we're already doing? So, that's where our next evidence based strategy comes in. And you might have heard of this one too, but if not, this could change your life. So it's called habit stacking. It's a method that makes forming new habits feel very natural and very seamless. So let's dive into this one. This idea comes from James Clear's groundbreaking work in Atomic Habits. If you haven't heard of that book, it's absolutely amazing. I've read it a couple times. The premise is simple but incredibly effective. So instead of trying to create a habit from scratch, you attach it to something that you already do. Yeah, easy peasy, right? Well, maybe not always, but much easier than trying to create something from scratch. So let's break this down with an example. So imagine you want to start journaling every morning, but you keep forgetting. So by using habit stacking, you link the new habit to something that you're already doing consistently, like maybe making a cup of tea or coffee. So your habit stack could look like after I make my coffee, I'm going to spend 5 minutes journaling, or maybe I'm going to do that while I'm having my coffee. So, the power of the habit stacking lies in creating seamless connections in your day. You're not trying to force a new routine, instead, you're building on existing habits. The science behind it is that habit stacking leverages the power of neural connections. So when your brain associates two activities together, it makes it much easier for you to perform the new habit because you're already in the routine mindset. So identify one habit that you might be doing daily: brushing your teeth, having breakfast, having coffee, whatever that looks like for you. Link in your new habit to this existing one. Even writing down your habit stack as a sentence, perhaps putting it on a sticky, just a gentle reminder till that's really reinforced. So after I, whatever your existing habit is, I will put in your new habit. So now you've just created a small intentional shift in your routine, one that feels natural and effortless. But beyond the action itself, let's go a little deeper. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what goal feels most aligned for me right now? How do I want to feel in this process of achieving it? And what small, realistic step can I take today to get myself closer to this? Because true change doesn't happen in the doing. It happens in the feeling, the intention, and the commitment that we bring into each step forward. Now, here's a fascinating fact: your brain is already working towards your success before you can even take action. Studies show that when you vividly visualize yourself achieving a goal, your brain activates the same neural pathways as if you were actually doing it. This means that imagining yourself taking those steps towards your goal, seeing it, feeling it, actually trains your brain to make it happen. And here's where it gets even more powerful. Writing your goals down makes you 42% more likely to achieve them. That's almost half. Why? Because when you put your goals into words, you clarify what you really want. No more vague I should statements. You engage your brain's memory and commitment process, making your goal feel real and tangible. And you boost accountability. A written goal isn't just an idea, it's a declaration. So let's take this one step further. Right after this episode, grab a notebook or in your phone notes and write down one clear, specific goal. Make it meaningful, make it something that excites you. Because when you see it, write it, and believe it, you're already halfway there. Now that we've explored how visualization and writing down your goals can rewire your brain for success, let's talk about one of the biggest misconceptions that holds people back: the belief that motivation is everything. We've all been there. We've set a goal, we've felt so inspired, we're full of energy at the beginning. But then life happens. The excitement fades, challenges pop up, and suddenly motivation is nowhere to be found. Here's the truth: you don't need to feel motivated every single day to succeed. In fact, relying on motivation alone is one of the quickest ways to fall off track. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and it goes like a wave. Some days you're going to feel unstoppable. You can take over the world. And other days, well, not so much. And you know what? That is completely normal. What actually drives long term success isn't motivation, it's your habits and systems. So instead of waiting to feel like it, create a plan that makes showing up automatic. Instead of relying on motivation, set up your environment so taking action is effortless. And instead of depending on willpower, build small daily routines that make success inevitable. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation to do it, it's just a part of your routine. You don't even think about it. The same principle applies to goal setting. If you set up a system where your habits align with your goals, progress becomes second nature. So instead of asking, how can I stay motivated? Shift the question to, how can I make this easier to stick to even when I don't feel motivated? And that's exactly what we'll continue exploring in the upcoming episodes: how to create those systems and routines and mindset shifts that help you stay consistent no matter what. Because success isn't about waiting for motivation, it's about creating habits that carry you forward. So that's it for today's episode. We've explored why Lack of a clear plan is one of the biggest reasons resolutions fail, and how we can set ourselves up for success with smart goals and intentional goal setting. Next week, we're diving into another common struggle. So, we're going to look at external pressures instead of internal motivation. We're going to explore why we often set goals based on what others expect rather than what we truly desire. How to tell the difference between external motivation and internal alignment. A simple but powerful reflection exercise we're also going to do to help you uncover what you really want. If you'd like extra support, I've put together some fabulous free resources to help you integrate what we talked about today, some worksheets, visualizations, and more. And you can find them at www.theintegrativecounselor.com. I'm going to have the link in the podcast bio for you as well. If today's episode resonated with you, oh my goodness, please stay tuned. And I'd love for you to share it with a friend or leave a review. It really helps others find this space. Until next time, take care. Stay intentional, and I'll see you at the next episode.